Super community, how's it going? Hero Mentor here with my good friend and co-host HoarderGamer. Today we are welcome. Don't interrupt me, please, Hoarder. I'm doing an intro. Jeez, we've been doing this for almost 3 months and you still do that. We have a returning special guest known as Mr. Tommie Earl Jenkins, one of the longest names I've had in this podcast. It's so hard to make for the branding, but I'll figure it out. Tommie, how are you doing?
I'm excellent, man. I'm so happy to be back with you again. It's been a while, but
It's been a while.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled to be back again.
And I understand you are in Dublin, Ireland right
I
now.
am indeed, man. I am. It's
Damn.
cold, but what a beautiful city. I've been here before, but it's been probably 15, 20 years since I've been in Dublin. But yeah, I'm happy to be back working on the TV show of The Rainmaker. And it's a gorgeous city. I'm going to be spending Christmas here, which is going to be wonderful. It's great. Absolutely great.
Christmas in Ireland. That's a gift I wish I had. I wish I had that ability.
I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up.
So because you brought it up, I'm just going to go and just ask this question right away. What is the Rainmaker that you're working on? What can you speak about that?
The Rainmaker. Listen, it is... it's based off of the book by John Grisham. So there is all these wonderful books, these thrillers, and they're all sort of courtroom dramas, I think, pretty much. Pelican Brief, The Firm, The Rainmaker, loads of them. And there was the movie with Matt Damon and Claire Danes, Danny DeVito, and this is a TV series based off of that book.
Okay,
so
interesting.
Very excited about it. On the USA Network, it'll be out.
Okay.
In this summer, so it's gonna. I think the turnaround's gonna be pretty quick.
Awesome.
On it, yeah.
Now, this may just be me having a brain moment, but when you said the Pelican Brief, didn't Denzel Washington do a movie called that as well? Okay.
Yes, and I think it was Julia Roberts with him in that.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was. Is that relevant to this story as well?
The stories aren't connected. No.
Okay.
They're separate.
These were all books, like The Firm that had Tom Cruise in it. And I think The Firm was probably one of the first books of John Grisham's that I'd ever read. And then the movie came out with Tom Cruise, and I saw that. It's a series of books. He's got loads, and I think he has a current book out now. He's just released a new book, which I can't remember the name of it, but I know he was around promoting it. But I think he's also a producer on the show as well.
So are you able to talk about your character at all?
So my character is called Prince Thomas, and he is, without giving too much away, he owns a bar called Yogi's Bar, but he's also kind of a lovable rogue. In a way, he's very mysterious, and I think he comes across as being possibly what might seem like he's not on the up and up, and then the tables turn, and I don't want to give too much away about it, but he's quite mysterious. He's quite mysterious, and I'm absolutely loving how he fits within the context of the whole series. And I think the journey for me with this particular character, it's unlike any role I've ever played before. And it just felt really natural for me. I think finding his voice and the character. And also, like with anything, I always try to maintain the integrity of the piece that a writer does. I always try to, make sure that I'm giving them what they wrote and what they had in mind. And it was wonderful. They've been very complimentary with the stuff that I've been doing. I remember even from my audition, one of the showrunner told me, he said, once you did your audition, because I also had a recall on Zoom with the producers and things like that. And they said, you finished your audition, and we're like, that's Prince. That's Prince. So, it was a no-brainer from them. But, I waited biting my nails, wondering if I...
Sure, yeah.
So I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled, man. Absolutely thrilled.
And you get a fun experience for like 3 to 4 months, roughly, in Ireland.
In Ireland.
On top of that, and Christmas in Ireland. Oh my goodness.
Christmas in Ireland, yeah.
I didn't think I could actually be envious of you. but
As you know, we had an election in the States recently, so I would love to be in on it. Probably forever right now.
Right, I'm sure. I'm sure. Listen, I'm glad I'm out of the country right now. To be fair, no disrespect, but I'm glad I'm just that little bit removed for a few minutes, just to let the dust settle.
100%.
Yeah.
Hoarder, I understand you had a question you wanted to ask him.
Oh yeah.
Before I forget, because I can talk a lot, so I don't want to be rude and just miss,
Okay.
you know.
So my first question is, what are the pros of performing in mocap versus stage or film acting?
Ah, so for me, the difference is I think mocap can be a lot harder in ways. And I've answered this question before, and it's always an interesting one that comes up because I feel with doing motion capture, you have to dig a little deeper when it comes to that. Only because all you have is a mocap suit, you've got dots on your face, you've got a headgear on with the camera and all of, and the mic and everything. A little bit cumbersome, but you don't have any of the set around you. You have things that might represent pieces of the set or the elements if you're out in the snow or if you're in the rain or you're going through, hellfire and brimstone. I don't know. But you have to find a way to emote that without having any of that stuff around you. So those layers are added on after the fact versus being on a TV set or a film set where you literally have everything. I'm in a living room. I've got my sofa. I've got my remote control. I've got the television. I've got all the things that I need to help me. I've got the costume. So those things help you become the character and live in that environment. Whereas motion capture, you have to literally dig deep to feel all that stuff around you. Do you know what I mean? So it's acting, but you don't have anything to help you along the way. You literally just have to imagine yourself in every scenario.
And I can imagine that could be kind of difficult because, I watched a lot of behind the scenes for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
The video game, and watched how they mocap, like Troy Baker and like Ashley Johnson, and I was like, this has to be extremely challenging to not have the environment because that probably plays a huge role mentally.
Absolutely.
With you getting into the character. So
Absolutely.
I can see how. So would you say that you enjoy doing mocap?
I do, and I tell you why. Because Death Stranding was my first motion capture I'd ever done.
Wow. Okay.
And what I like about it is I come from a theater background. I started working in theater when I was 14. And it reminds me a lot of that. It reminds me of being on stage. It reminds me of just, how things are working, using your imagination. It's all the things that, acting classes tell you about, to connect with the character, to connect with the situation, with your other actors and things like that. But I think the theater background has helped me a lot in the process of doing motion capture.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always found motion capture to be interesting. Even when there's even some games will have motion capture scenes within the game,
Yeah.
but it's usually laughable. It's like, hey, let's move this motion capture scene, but all you're wearing is these white dots everywhere, and it's usually treated as a joke. And I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. It seems extremely challenging.
I think people underestimate it. I think people underestimate voice actors. I think people underestimate people who do motion capture because they're so used to seeing, a stage production where there's nothing left to the imagination, and also TV and film where you just have everything is given to you. The work that it takes to do motion capture is very hard. Incredibly hard. We as the actors, we are used to relying on a certain hairstyle or a certain mannerism or certain, all of those things that would normally help put you, help you and guide you along the way. You just have to work a little bit harder. And I think people underestimate the amount of work that it takes to go into a booth and create characters and have all that come across just as a sound of people talking. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you don't, because a lot of times with games, or in a booth by ourselves. We don't often have, well, in fact, never have the people with you. You say your lines, you give them an A, B, and C version of the line, and it's the rest is out of your hands. They'll choose which one they want to use for the final product. But we have to go in already prepared that, okay, I don't have much information given to me other than, a little bit about the character. But as far as a full script, we never get a full script. We get the lines usually the night before because they don't want to release too much too soon in case it gets out or gets leaked. So we as the actor, we get the raw end of the deal sometimes because we only get whatever they give us at whatever time they give it to us. And then we have to do our prep and then go into the studio and basically ask questions. If there's something we're not sure about, we just have to, and that's the other thing, you have to be willing to ask the questions and say, where does this scene fall within the whole context of the show? What happened to this character prior to this? What's going to happen to him? Because that will help me determine how I need to play this scene, or give you various options on a particular line, so that it's going to work with what the other characters have said. Because you could have so many different inflections in how you deliver a line, but will it work with how the other person has said their lines? Because they're not in the room with us. Motion capture, we're lucky because that is like a group effort. Everyone's there, working with Norman or working with Mads Mikkelsen. We're on the set together in motion capture suits, but at least you have that physical interaction. You can look in their eyes. You can touch them. You know what I'm saying? And so you have that realness. But just doing the voiceover work, it's hard sometimes. And you walk away thinking, God, did I do that? But if they're happy, they're happy. So you have to take their word for it. You've given us some great options. Great, okay.
So would with your work with Gotham Knights as Jacob King, was that motion capture or just caught in a booth?
Yeah. So here's the deal with that. That was pre-pandemic, and then it became the pandemic. So what happened was I'd gotten the job, and I was very excited about it. The fact that I'm going to play this iconic character. I had no idea what to expect, and I was meant to go to Montreal to do the motion capture for it. But by that time, pandemic came in, and so they weren't flying anyone in. So they got someone else to do the motion capture, which I was a little I was upset, but you can't do anything about that. And then, of course, I had to go into the studio and relive what the person had done in terms of what they had recorded as the motion capture person, and then find my way to make the voice work for what they done. Normally, like in Death Stranding, I did all my own physical stuff. I did all my own voice work, even on the motion capture stage. And I was meant to have that luxury, but due to the pandemic, I couldn't get to Montreal to do all of that. So they said, we got to keep things moving along. And so I just had to sit back and wait until it came to LA, and then went into the studio and worked it. And that was challenging. That was very challenging, because I had to sync up with what the character had also done, what the actor had done previously. So they'd done the motion capture, but my voice was now being added. But then I had to find a way to get my voice and my timing of my lines to do what this person had done. Do you see what I mean? Whenever it was the motion capture. Because my instincts would be, I might, they say the line one way, but I may have felt in that moment, I might have said it slightly different, or with a different inflection, or with a different speed to it. But I didn't have the luxury. I had to be put within a parameter, and I couldn't deviate. So I had to find a way to make, and that was hard and very, very challenging. But we did it. We did it.
You did it. It was a great performance. I love that performance.
Thank you.
But now, I love hearing this may sound, I love hearing the challenges you had to go through, because it makes me respect the performance even much more. Where it's like, damn, that wasn't as easy as 1, 2, 3. It was like one B, one C, 2A.
And that's what people don't realize. They don't. It's easy for us and I think we're all guilty of it. It's just human nature. I think it's easy for us to watch something or listen to something and judge it based on the final product of what we see. We don't know what it took and how difficult it was for those. And half the time we don't think about it because a lot of people don't care about that. They're thinking, I'm spending my money to watch this movie, or I'm spending my money to buy this game, and this is what I got, so this is what I'm judging. They don't think about what it took for the actor to get there, or how much work was involved, and all the technicalities that it took to do it. They just see the end product, And so, I think it's always great when people can get an insight to what we do and how we get there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. There are days where you're frustrated because you know what something should be, and you're just trying to navigate through so many different obstacles to try to make something happen. And anything can go wrong. But we have the luxury in TV and film and also motion capture to do another take. Stage work, you don't have that. You have one shot every night.
Yeah.
And if you screw up, if you forget a line, hopefully there will be someone there that you didn't piss off who will help you get out of it. Who will help save you. But live theater is completely different, and I love doing live theater. There's that rush, the instant gratification of having an audience, a different audience every night. People laugh differently in different places, or sometimes they're a quiet audience. Sometimes they're extremely loud and rambunctious. But at the end of it, I think they're always very appreciative of what you've done for the last 2 hours on stage. So it is that, once again, that is a very different, genre as well in terms of working.
And as we discussed previously, Hoarder has more experience with Death Stranding. Right. And I know he has more questions about that. So I figure since we're on that topic, Hoarder, carry on that conversation with the Death Stranding, because I lied to Tommie. I said I was going to download the game. I haven't yet.
You lied.
Liar!
Liar!
I'm going to get to it. It's just there's only so much room on my PS5, So Hoarder, carry on that conversation with Death Stranding.
Well, I'm going to start with a real small question, and it's going to sound bizarre, but it'll make sense to anyone who's played the game. Did almost every actor have to stand on a turntable or a rotating disc at one point? Because if you haven't played the game, everybody, there's a scene where Die Hard Man, which is the character that Tommie plays in Death Stranding, and then there's other characters. They'll talk to the Norman Reedus character, and they'll appear via video, and then it's like they take a turn and then the other person appears to talk. Was that something they actually did, or was that something done digitally?
Oh, you're talking about the holograms that happen.
Yes, because they turn and then it's another person. I was wondering, is that something you actually did? Or
No. I think that was digital, because I don't ever remember hitting one turntable. I don't remember.
Yeah, because it was the craziest thing. I'm playing the game and I'm like, did they actually have the mocap?
Yes, standing on a lazy Susan. Yeah,
so it's been insane.
Spinning us around.
So I do have a better question.
Okay.
So I have to ask, what is it like working with Hideo Kojima? Is he open to an actor's ideas and concepts, or is he more rigid in that regard? Because Hideo is like a man of mystery to most of us.
Yes. Well, he remains a man of mystery to a lot of people, including but in the nicest possible way. I'll tell you, he is everything you would want him to be, in terms of he's nice, he's easygoing. I think he is an actor's director. He's hands-on. Someone else asked me once, does he direct, is he fully hands-on with everything in terms of, motion capture and directing you guys? I'm like, he couldn't be more hands-on. He couldn't be more hands-on. It literally, he is there every day, every minute, and walking you through everything. His hands are always there. And he's incredibly open to suggestions, I think, from actors. And certainly I never had an issue if I had, a question or something we wanted to explore. The one thing I think he is very good at, not just the one thing, because he's good at at all of it. But he does really pay attention to the people he works with. In terms of looking at them, he looks at what they do, character-wise with them as a person, and finds a way of incorporating those elements into the person's character because it makes them uniquely part of themselves as well as the character that he has envisioned. Do you see what I mean? Like if you have a little quirk that you do, or you may always catch you doing something, tapping your jaw, or who knows, smoking a cigarette or whatever, he will try to find ways, I think, to bring those elements in to one's character if it fits. Just, you know what I'm saying? So I think he really is very much, he's a visionary. He is an absolute visionary. I always say I'd love to be able to get inside his head and just, with a couple just watch the cogs turn and see what's happening and see how all of this comes to him. You know, he's incredibly imaginative. And, you know, when you get the thumbs up, when you've done a scene and he's like, yep, you know the thumbs up, we're good to go. We're moving on.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
He definitely seems like someone that is mysterious on purpose. Like he's very guarded, and I like that. Like it's like if you're looking with actors, just like play it safe, don't say too much. But I love how you mentioned that he pays attention to details from the actors.
He notices everything
and incorporates them because I believe there's a Death Stranding 2 coming. I believe
apparently yes.
Yeah, apparently. So maybe if he's active on TikTok, maybe he'll notice your viral dancing video and incorporate that into your character in part 2. Like, Tommie, you know what I'm talking about, that video.
I have no idea. I have no idea about Death Stranding 2. Nothing. I've got nothing to say on it other than the fact that I don't know if Die Hardman's in DS2.
I'm just saying, like, your dancing video went pretty viral on TikTok with D. Hardman. Yeah, I don't know if Hoarder has seen it or not, but it was quite hilarious.
Not yet. I will later today, though.
Which one were you talking about?
It's you're wearing the mask, and I believe it's like a black flashy dress shirt.
Oh yeah. That was
and you're dancing.
I sort of melded. Yeah, I melded the Wednesday dance from Wednesday.
That's what it was. Yes,
with Die Hardman. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
that's
hopefully,
awesome.
if
check that out.
I haven't played the game, so I don't know if that character is whatever. But if he is, I want Hideo to see that and be like, we're gonna incorporate that somehow. We're gonna figure out how to put that in there because that went viral and that was hilarious when I saw that. Now, do you have any further questions? Do you have any further questions, Hoarder, about Death Stranding?
Well, I just want to say I find that fascinating because I always thought like the idiosyncrasies in his games were basically based on things he scripted. The idea of that's the actual actor bringing their idiosyncrasies into the project is fascinating. That's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say it for everyone, but what I'm saying is that he is very thorough in terms of looking at people that he hires to do roles. And I think he will always look and see what elements of truth can I bring from that person into this character, and let them have a little bit of free reign to discover things that make them feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And so it was wonderful watching Mads on set and working with him because he was very proactive and had ideas about things. And if things didn't feel right, he would, try and find ways to make it work. And it was just a wonderful process, and I love that. I love that actors have that freedom, and to have a director who's so open and, allowing the sort of goalposts to move,
That's awesome, and I'm happy he's getting more into mocap and almost like film type work because his entire life he's been a huge cinephile. He adores film.
He does.
He's it even mentions like I think on his either Twitter or Blue Sky that like his love of film in there.
Yeah.
And even more than his games, he and I have a very strong like of the same bands and music and movies.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan.
Wow, yeah, he's amazing. I mean, did you see the documentary that came out on Disney
I
Plus?
unfortunately have not yet. I do want to. Hero
Oh, yeah,
mentioned it
watch
to me
it.
yesterday.
Because I learned so much about him, and I did a little snippet on the in the documentary. But it was watching it, I learned so much about him and how films became so prevalent for him and so part of his like makeup. Do you know what I mean? He loves movies. So I can see where it comes from. All of his stuff is very cinematic.
Yes.
All the cut scenes and stuff. It is like watching. You could take that and probably create 3 movies out of his cut scene you have. It's incredible.
What's awesome too is he reviews movies, but he does it in a very fascinating way. So if he likes the movie, it's like 2 or 3 paragraphs going into detail and the
Yeah,
elements he loves of the movie.
yeah.
But if it's something like, I believe Morbius, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it was Morbius, he'll be like, I saw Morbius. Like he'll just
Full
be like,
stop.
yeah. So instead of like any paragraphs explaining anything, he'll just be like, I saw this. Yeah, yeah.
And that's like an automatic thumb, like that's him saying, "Yeah, that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
for
yeah.
me."
In a very polite way, yes, yeah.
So, like I said, I unfortunately am not well aware of Death Stranding yet. It is on my list, my backlog. I am very excited. I've heard nothing but great things about the universe and the experience, and your character is highly regarded as one of the favorites, which you're probably well aware of.
Yes.
Well,
That's needless,
I'm
for
still
me to
blown away
say.
by it. I'm still
So,
blown away by it. You know, we just celebrated 5 years of Death
damn.
Stranding, and I feel like I've never been out of the sort of limelight of Death Stranding for 5 years because people are constantly talking about it. People are constantly posting pictures or things of the game and photography and stuff that they do from in the game. And, and I'm always getting messages constantly still at 5 years on. And it was one of the things that I felt like I have a lot to be grateful for with regards to Death Stranding because it opened a whole new world for me. I had always been doing games and voiceover work and things like that, but not, a lot of people in the industry, the gaming industry, weren't aware of me because and partly is I hadn't been given the opportunity to do big roles in big games. I will always be voicing, NPC characters and stuff like that or whatever, and maybe 3 or 4 characters within a game. No one ever knows me, but they'll remember maybe that character or not. So Death Stranding was the first one to come along that was such a big game and to play such a big role in it. I think it really sort of opened up the door for people to get to know who Tommie Earl Jenkins was. And I'm fine about people going, oh yeah, Tommie Earl Jenkins, he was Die Hardman in Death Stranding. I'm good with that. If that's what you remember me from, because I'm proud of it. I am absolutely
100%.
proud of all of the work. I'm proud of having had the opportunity to have worked with such amazing people. Yeah. So I do have a lot to be grateful for in that respect. I've enjoyed it.
100%. So, we're gonna jump to Wednesday. On Wednesday, that's what we're gonna call this segment of the show is Wednesday on Wednesday. I didn't even realize that Hoarder until we went live, started recording. I was like, wait, it's Wednesday. This is crazy. We didn't plan this, I swear. So
It's not
you and I
bad.
spoke. We spoke briefly about Wednesday with your first appearance on Super Hour. However, there were some questions that I didn't think of at that time that I thought of now. For one, I would love to know. I'm a huge fan of Jenna Ortega's work. I feel she's a tremendous performer, and I'm a huge fan of her personality in interviews and how she speaks about things, and she stands up for herself. And
Sure.
so I would love to know,
Yeah.
with your experience on set with her, was there anything that you learned from her performance that helped you in your career? Because I understand she is very, very talented.
Oh, she is.
And I just want to know how she influenced you. Like, did she help you out any way? Did she teach you some new tricks? Like, what did you learn from her working on set with her?
Let me start by saying this. As a veteran and sort of, in this industry, and I've been working for decades, one of the things that has helped me through is that no matter how much work I do, no matter how many people I work with, whether they're older than me or younger than me, I always go into a job thinking, what am I going to take away from this? What am I going to be able to learn from this experience? You know, someone who's 19 is playing a role, and I can go and watch them and be like, that's amazing. I can learn from that. Do you know what I mean? It's when I feel like there's nothing, no one can teach me anything. You know, what's the point of me doing this? Why do I
Exactly.
keep doing it? You know, there should be something to keep propelling me forward. And watching Jenna, I will say she's absolutely lovely. She is committed 150%. You know, she carries the show in a way that the weight is on her. And at such a young age, I think she was like 20, 19 or 20 or something when we were doing Wednesday. And her level of commitment is to be absolutely praised for, because she is there 100%. And I think watching her, I'm amazed how she managed to play that entire role and never blink. If you ever
Yes,
watch
I heard about that interview.
Oh,
literally,
wow.
I don't know how
realize
she
that.
does it,
That's something I look
but
for,
she
too.
she can do an entire scene and not bat an eyelid, literally. And it's the most incredible thing. I mean, she's a very talented actress anyway, you know, and like I said, she's committed. I love her spirit. I love that she knows what she wants. I think she has an idea about where, you know, how things should be in order to work for her in the way that they should, and in order for her to give the best performance that she needs to have or be able to do. But yeah, that would be something I could learn, because I'd probably go 30 seconds trying not to blink. Like, my eyes are watering.
Yeah, I heard that in an interview. I may have got it wrong, but she's mentioned something like the director noticed that she wasn't blinking, and he like spoke to her about it, and she just committed to doing it after that. And I was
Yeah,
like, if you watch the show, you're like, she does not blink.
she doesn't blink.
What like what?
It's incredible.
It's
And if she
impressive.
ever does, it's so minimal. But you'll
It's
never see
impressive,
her
but
flutter.
also creepy, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Did you?
it works.
Yes.
It works.
Another question is about another character, Emma Myers, who plays Wednesday's friend,
Oh, Enid.
best friend. And Enid, that's her name. Sorry, yeah, thank you, Enid. I'm also a huge fan of her like bubbly personality, but I can't recall if you had any scenes with her on the show.
I didn't
I don't
have.
I don't really think you did.
I have to stop and think. No, I don't. No, I didn't.
No.
Not with
Okay.
her personally. We were in scenes together.
Yes.
You know, like I think when they were all at the Joseph Crackstone sort of celebration. You know, all the kids and stuff were there. So our paths would cross, but we never actually had any scenes together. You know.
Okay.
But I had you know, I was able to work with some great people, had some great scenes, opportunities to be, you know, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Gwendolyn, Christy, you know, and Jenna. And that was great. Christina Ricci. So
Yes.
brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Love it. I really wanted to know because, like you mentioned, I love how you said that when you go to a set or a new show or a new series that you want to learn something from it, regardless of age. Because a lot of people may think, well, Tommie is maybe more of a veteran compared to Jenna, but so he can't learn anything from her. And it's like, well, actually, you know, he learned she doesn't blink, like,
Yeah.
and that's tremendous. That
I learned that she I learned about, you know, her, as a reminder, her level of commitment,
she
her
is, yeah,
professionalism,
100%.
you know, which is what I certainly expect to find when I go on a set anyway, you know. But for someone of her age to be so young and to be so dedicated and focused, you know, it was a reminder of me that it kind of, you know, it reminded me a little bit of myself when I was younger, because you just you know, you remember things. But I also, you know, I look at the talent of her amongst a lot of the young cast that were there. You know, all of them incredibly gifted, all committed, you know, to creating a wonderful show. You know, you've got Tim Burton at the helm. creating, I think it was his first TV show.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
so,
was
yeah.
wonderful. He created, he wrote and also designed, like the monster and stuff and everything like that. He's an artist, so he had all his own designs. I've had moments where I was able to sort of have one-on-one with him and sit and talk, and we were out to dinner and just hearing his story and how he relates to Wednesday. Wednesday, he was like that as a child, slightly, outcast, I suppose, in some ways, and and how gifted this man is, So yeah, there was a lot. There was so much. Like I said, whenever I step on set, I always, I'm always grateful for the job. I'm always looking, I might not always walk away with friends from the job necessarily, because it doesn't happen. You spend a short time together, we'll be colleagues. Very few people I can walk away and take with me. And I was fortunate with Wednesday to take quite a few people that I still stay in touch with, and we meet up and have a little dinner, or we'll celebrate my birthday or their birthday or something, and those are like little gems to me, because it doesn't happen on every job, and you don't often get to spend that amount of time with people, because everyone's schedules are crossing. You're not always in the same scenes together. Sometimes you can do an entire show and never have a scene with 2 or 3 other characters, so you show up on set and you're like ships in the night. We know we're in the same show, we just never, I won't see what they do until the show airs. Crazy.
It was such a I was like, this may upset a lot of people, but I was never really a big fan of the Addams Family growing up.
Okay.
So I wasn't really. I was familiar with the characters because they were popular, but my daughter, as I spoke to you before, she's the one who convinced me to watch this show. And then she broke my heart, because I was so excited to see your performance, and I was like, I can't wait to see more in season 2. And she's like, yeah, that's gonna be so good, Dad.
See, what I was going to say about that, though, is Tommie should definitely talk to his agent, because who's to say that wild city where that school is doesn't have some weird magical thing, and maybe people that die come back.
You
maybe
never know.
Can't leave that town.
You never know, but
that's what I was just like, surely Mayor Walker has a twin brother.
Yeah.
Somewhere, so I'm going to put that out there. I loved it.
It was just her facial expression of how I was so excited to see more of your character in season 2.
Yeah.
In her head, she knows it's gonna break my heart. And then the scene where you passed away, I was like, "You held this from me?" Like I projected on her. I was like, "You knew."
Yeah, I had friends who were like, at the end of episode 6, I think is where that happens. And you think he gets hit. And then he's there lying in the street, but he's in the hospital. Oh, so maybe there's hope. Maybe there's something that's not. And then some crazy person comes and, unplugs it. He's gone. And then you think, well, maybe not. This is Wednesday. Anything can happen. There could be a playground. And then at the top of episode 7, you're like, oh no, he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's done.
At a funeral, he's like rain pouring down on umbrellas. There's a coffin there in the cemetery. You're like, and a big portrait of myself next to the coffin.
Tommie, I'm surprised at you. You've been on General Hospital. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. I'm not worried.
Yeah, Hoarder surprised me when he mentioned he loves General Hospital. I was like, really?
Yes,
because that was like in my life, that was only my grandparents' show. So I was like, oh. And
the
then
writing
he was like,
is a lot better now, man. It's basically like a live-action comic book daily. It's so crazy.
That's crazy. That's funny. Do you know what? When I had the opportunity to have a scene on General Hospital, I was like, okay, I'm done now. I'm on a major soap opera. Maybe in a moment, daytime television. This is like every actor's dream at some point, to be on an iconic show,
Yes.
And who knows, maybe he'll come back at some point again, because they always come back.
They do.
They always.
It's crazy how that works. Like my grandma was a huge fan of General Hospital, Days of Our Lives,
I remember
and some
it
other
growing up.
ones. Yeah. So I was like, when Horror's like, I watch it, I'm like, really? I did okay. Well, it's completely caught me off guard. Now, I was going through our IMDb list, and there's a lot to go through and process, but there was one in the additional section that caught me by surprise. It says like, it's like the additional crew. It said Captain Marvel voices for the movie. I was what voices? I watched the movie and I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that?
Yeah, because if I can remember,
If you can remember.
yeah, if I can remember, because that was a while ago. And once again, the additional voices are there's a thing that we have in the industry called ADR, right?
Okay.
And there's also what we call looping groups. And we as actors sometimes will join a looping group, or the looping casting director will hire people to come in, and you see the movie without any soundtrack. And our job is to create all the voices of people that are not principal characters. So when you see people on the subway having a conversation, but the principals are in the foreground, you are creating the conversation for those people sitting in the seats.
Okay.
Or you're the computer voice. There's a couple times I think she has a computer thing on her wrist, or she operates something, and I am the voice of in one of those scenes. I'm the voice of her digital
Device.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, little things.
Okay,
like
I'll have to watch
that.
that again.
So they rack
Okay.
up. Yeah, so they rack up, and I think there's a couple of scenes where I think she's in a phone booth or something, and I can't remember the movie that well because I just had a birthday, so I forget everything now. I forget everything now. But yeah, so that's all that additional voices is really all that looping, and sometimes you'll see a person yelling something in a crowd, but the camera is focused on that person. That person was, for all intents and purposes, was hired as a background actor.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we make these things, and what we do is tend to create a voice for that person. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a movie. I used to do a load of ADR work for quite a few movies, which you won't necessarily be in the credits. But there was one movie, and it was a taxi driver, and they're in New York, and he's sitting behind the wheel, and there's all this congestion going on, and he leans out the window and he says something, and you see his mouth moving, and the director turns to me and says, "So can you? We just need you to get something to come out of his mouth. We need you to say something like, 'Hey, what the hell is going on here?'" So you have to try to figure out what would he say and what words would match what his mouth is doing.
Crazy.
Did you have to say it like De Niro?
Well, no. Well, you can come up with any voice. This happened to be this happened to be, and they match you to the ethnicity of the actor or the
Okay.
So this was a black cab driver. He leans out the window in a crowd, from a slight distance, and you can see him, and he's like doing something, and so you just create a voice for him. And
That's crazy.
Wow. Okay.
And it cuts through. Yeah.
I thought you meant the movie Taxi Driver.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Porter's like, I took that literally.
I dubbed Robert De Niro.
It's fascinating you mentioned that because I did a lot of background work on like shows like Tin Star and Fargo, and we're always told just to mime. So I was like, okay, I'll mime, pretend to say things. But now I'm like, I want to go back and watch these things I did and see if anyone did a voice over me.
And see if anyone. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never knew that was an option. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, this is why I felt gravitated to ask that question, because there was something to learn from that. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
so
and also you hear the background chatter, like say you're in an office and there's the principals are having a conversation, but you always hear that ambiance underneath where people are having conversations within the office. That's real chatter. And we just walk around the microphone. There's maybe 7 or 8 of us, maybe 10. And we walk and we pass the mic and we're having a conversation with everyone. And that gets layered. And it gets put into this. Yeah. So you create all the ambiance. It's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
that's actually very cool, because now I'm gonna pay attention to that with my ADHD brain.
Listen to
I'm like,
ambiance.
Is that okay, so whenever I see an IMDb credit that says additional voices, that could be what it's referencing then.
It could be, yeah.
Possibly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I always saw that. And Horde and I were talking yesterday in a production meeting, and I was like, additional voices. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, am I going to hear Tommie's voice 17 times? And it's like different. So I was like, okay.
And sometimes those things are specific. Like it might generally be like they open a device and you hear a computer voice come out of it. An actor has been hired to create that, say that dialogue or whatever, and and then that's it. There's no credit for you, and you don't get the credit of the device's voice coming up in the final credits. It's just
Sure.
you're in it, and that's just one of the additional voices. And people don't really think about it. But that's, a lot of voice actors do it. It's a great job to do in between jobs.
Okay.
Good for like practice as well. If you just sound like, I had the dream of becoming an actor, but then I was like, I'm gonna do some background work and I liked the experience of being on set, but I didn't like the journey of getting to set.
Right.
I didn't like the no, you didn't get this. No, you didn't get this. And I was like, you know what? I can't handle that. So I was like, this is not a good. Yeah, I'm just like, I get too excited for things. Like I remember I auditioned for a Liam Neeson movie as a character who was an Aboriginal, and I was so excited because I'm part Aboriginal, but then I didn't get it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I can't handle this rejection over and over. And it's very important to deal with that, right? Like, and have that self-awareness of like, can I deal with this over and over?
Yeah, and the sooner you learn that, the easier you will navigate this industry.
Mm-hmm.
It would be one of the things that I've told young actors when I've spoken, saying, get used to hearing no's, because you will hear more no's than you will hear yeses. And that's just a fact. And if you get too excited, I'm always excited about the prospect of a job. I've learned in my years to contain my excitement, and just kind of go, once I've done my audition or I've sent my self-tape in, I take my sides or my script, I throw it in the garbage can, and I let it go. Because at that moment, once I send the tape off, it's out of my hands. The
100%.
only thing I want to hear back is either you're penciled for this, or they want to see you for a recall, or you've booked it. Mm-hmm. Anything other than that, I'm good. Because I know there will be other things, and it feels sometimes like a numbers game to try to book a gig. And for me, whenever I book a gig, I feel like I've won the damn lottery, because I know how many people have been submitted for this particular role. There have been thousands of people who've been submitted. And maybe out of all those submissions, maybe they've dwindled it down to, 300 people. And out of those 300, maybe they've requested 20 people to self-tape for the role. And then out of that 20, maybe 2 of you or 3 of you go to producers, and then the producers decide out of those 3, who do we want? And then it's who gets the job after that. So the fact that you can get to that stage, that's always a win. The fact that they want you to self-tape or send an audition, that's a win, because the casting director, it means they like you. They see something. They see that there might be potentially something for you to do here, And so all we can do is do the best that we can. Whenever a script comes through, I used to have a problem with, there'd be an age thing on it, or, maybe this character just seems too old. They're looking for somebody older, or it should be someone younger. And whatever that breakdown is, I used to really focus on it to try and give everything that it said in the breakdown. He's charismatic, but yet he's distant. He's this, and he's got all these different things going on. And I used to try to get everything in the scene. And then I look at it and I kind of go, do you know what? I've read the breakdown, and now I have to put it aside. That's it. Don't think about the age, because I don't want the age to influence me. So therefore, now what I do is I've read the breakdown. I take 1 point from out of that breakdown, one characteristic that strikes out to me, and I hang on to that. And then I'll mold my character to have an element of that. Because what it does is it frees me up to just look at the paper, look at the script, and see what comes from me organically. Do you see what I'm
Got
saying?
it.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's the only way that people are cast where they bring something different to the table. Because everyone looks at the script, and 9 times out of 10, everyone will read the script the exact same way. Same punctuations, same commas, same ellipses, same exclamation point, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're doing what's on the paper. But to stand out, you do what's on the paper, but then you find something else to bring to it. Step outside of the box, flip it on its head, and it's hard for actors to do it sometimes because they don't want to feel like they've wrecked an opportunity. What if I try this and they don't like it and they think it's too far gone or whatever? What if you did it and they didn't think that and they thought that was something different because that stood out of all the 20 tapes that we saw. This one stood out because you did something different, and not that you just did something different. It fucking worked.
Yeah.
You set it on its head. So, but to take the risk, we always feel sometimes like it's not something that we don't want to miss an opportunity, or we don't want to, make someone think that we didn't understand, what the assignment was. Oh, I understood it. I understood it clearly. I'm just this is how I see it. And I think that's it. Sometimes they just want people, because a lot of times, to be honest, they don't know what they want until they see it.
They have like a general idea.
Yeah. You have a general idea, and that's it. You have an A, B, and C. We know what the character is, but someone comes in and does something different, but still give them exactly what they want, and they go, "That works. Didn't see that. Wow, that was great." Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I'm laughing because it reminds me of Hugh Jackman when he was talking about his audition for Wolverine, and how he said that he didn't know Wolverine was a comic character, so he prepared to actually perform as an actual Wolverine. And when he got to the audition, he's like, "Oh!" And then it also happened with I can't remember his last name, but Adam. He played in Pitch Perfect, the movie, and when he went for his audition, he thought it was a baseball movie. So he went prepared to do a baseball performance.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like what you said is true, where you're just like, sometimes you can overthink it and sometimes you don't overthink it enough. So it's a, every voice actor I've spoken to have all said the same thing as you. Send and forget.
Yes.
Send and forget, because it's just a psychological thing.
Yeah, because you can't do anything after that. Once you've sent it, yes, we can wallow in our kind of our angst and wondering if we're going to get the gig and if I'm going to book it, or did they like it, or this, that, and the other. And you go, I just spent 3 or 4 days, because you might not know. Sometimes you can know in a couple of days whether you'll get a call back. Sometimes you won't know, depending on when the outside dates for the shooting is, or whatever the gig is. You might not know for a while. So I can't live my life, life's precious. I can't live my life, in fear, wondering if I'm going to get this every day, worrying about it. Just go. You've done what you can do, and we'll see what happens. And if you don't get it, that's fine. Someone got a chance to see you. You read or sent a tape in for maybe a casting person who had never seen your work before, or whatever, So you got in front of someone. And that's a win. The fact that we actually audition is a win. We want to go for the ultimate prize, but let's take the wins as they come.
Because I believe when we first talked about Jacob Kane, you said it was about, I believe you said a couple months to like 6 months before you found out you got the role. It was a long wait. I could not imagine spending so much mental energy every day for 6 months.
Yeah, that would break you.
Oh, jeez, I would break. I
think I let that one go because, one, I kind of thought, well, I'm glad it was nice for them to see me, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. Casting a black actor in this role that's always been predominantly, Caucasian or whatever. And so I think certain things allow you to let go easily, a little more easier than other things. But I kind of thought, well, it was nice to be seen. It was nice to be considered, because I was considered for another role. I actually read as well for Alfred.
Yes, you did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you told me you got Jacob Kane. You're like, who? Like, I got Jacob Kane? Really?
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was kind of like, wow, it does work. It does work. And as an actor, I'm always grateful for the jobs that come along. We are now in an age where people are, I don't know that actors should have to, if you're a gay actor, that you only play gay roles. If you're straight, you can only play straight roles, or whatever. I think the actor is the actor. That's the nucleus. You are, this is what it's about. If you can do it, do it. Do you know what I mean? I know there are historical figures that we, it depends on how things are done. Do we cast George Washington as black? Do you know what I mean? It's like sort of Hamilton when they did Hamilton and all these. The way the show is, it works brilliantly. It works brilliantly. But I think when you're playing historical figures and you want to be accurate to something, and you know for a fact that person was black or was Caucasian or was Asian or whatever, I love the fact that we can stick to those things. But fictional characters, I think we can. I think it's a broader scope. I think it'd be a broader scope. Do you know what I'm saying? Although people still have a problem with that. We got a black Ariel in Disney. People were in uproar. Do you know what I'm saying? It's little things like that. People are not.
But let's be honest. For the most part, it's some of the worst people that were upset by that. Let's be honest.
That's true too. That's true too. Let's be fair.
You have any further questions, Hoarder, so I don't overstep here? I can't remember if you had...
just really quick.
Yes.
I thought it was fascinating what you were talking about, giving the producer, director, or casting agent something unique in the performance, something that isn't exactly like on the page. And what it reminded me of is, I believe his name is Adam Scott. He was in Fleabag. I know he's in the second season, I believe, of Fleabag. He did this. Got to see him do some Shakespeare, and he has these really very interesting inflections and pauses, and a very fascinating way. Where even though I've seen people perform Shakespeare tons of times, his felt unique, and that's just something I thought of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, I think when you can tap into trusting what you do is enough. Not to try and be someone else, because I think often people do kind of go, they'll send a breakdown out and said, we're kind of looking for a voice that's similar to, we're kind of looking like we want a Morgan Freeman type. I'm like, well, why don't you get Morgan Freeman? I understand what they're saying, but the thing is, you can't be those people. We already have them.
Yes.
I can't be Sam Jackson. I can't be Denzel Washington. I can't be Will Smith. I can't be any of those people. The only person I can really truly be is myself.
Yes.
And what happens is I have to be okay with myself in order to be myself. Does that make sense?
Love it.
Yes, definitely.
Because otherwise I can't, yes, I can shift the voice. The character I'm coming up with his voice may sit a little lower than where my voice sits naturally where I am, but I've got a pretty low voice anyway. But coloring and texturing certain aspects of a character is different. But being able to freely just let yourself, trust yourself to do what you instinctively want to do. Like, there is no right or wrong way to act. As long as you are listening, acting is reacting. You know what I'm saying? And so as long as you're able to do that, what you bring to the table from you personally, that's what the bonus is going to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Yeah.
That's what the bonus is. And that takes a lot of trust as an artist to believe in yourself. But it's only those people who get out there and do it. And the thing is, you look at these people, you see them sit on a talk show and talk, and they have their voice, and you think that's the same voice they use when they're in a movie. That's the same. They talk the same way, or their mannerisms kind of the same way. Someone you have to trust. Put it out there. The universe will rise up to meet you. Someone will see it. Someone will accept it. Everything happens in its time. There is no time limit or time frame in which, success happens for people, and as long as you don't pressurize yourself about trying to get to a certain stage of your career at a certain time in your life, then you'll never be disappointed. You'll just enjoy the journey. Do you know what I'm saying? And you've got to enjoy the journey in order for it to be fulfilling.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I made the decision to walk away from background acting because I didn't enjoy the journey.
Right.
I enjoyed the destination. I loved being on set with Tim Roth and so many of these great actors. But to get there, I was like, I did not enjoy that. So I had to have that self-awareness and the honesty.
Yeah, and it's not easy. The road has never been easy. Certainly it hasn't been easy for me, but people see what we do and what we achieve, and that's what they see. But they never see the struggle along the way. And boy, have I struggled. I still sometimes feel like I struggle. But, I have...
Hey, as in Ireland right now.
Hey, I've had some chaos. I know I'm sitting here in Ireland struggling.
No, I get what you're saying. Like it's we as people we love the destination, but it's like I've always found the inspiration from the journey. Like Tommie, let me know how much you struggle. Like that's where I find that like respect for you as a person.
That is what inspires people to hang in there, to keep doing what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? You hear it all the time, whether you're a singer, a dancer, an actor, a painter, whatever it is that you do and you become successful at. For the 9 times out of 10, most of those people have struggled along the way to get there, to get their acclaim, to be successful, to be recognized for their work, and I think you have to stick with the journey. It's easy to want to give up, but the dream, it will always be the dream if you keep the dream alive. The dream has no expiration date on it. It does not. Dreams do not expire unless you let them expire. Do you know what I'm saying? So if it's what you want to do, find a way to enjoy the journey. Find the way to keep yourself active whilst you're on that journey. Find things in your life to keep you fulfilled. Your friends, your support network. Be careful about the people you have around you, because there's nothing worse than saying you have a dream to do something and then someone laughs at it. Do you know what I mean? That's a way to kill someone's dream. That's saying that you don't believe I can do this. Do you know what I'm saying? If it's a person's dream, I'm like, I will support anyone's dream. If you've got a dream to do what it is you want, I'm like, fucking go for it. Do it. Don't let anybody stop you. I'll be there pushing you. I'll be behind you pushing you, lifting you up. And I just kind of go, I love that people have that ability to go on the journey and to stick with the struggle. Because I know there are times when I look back over things in my life and I kind of go, God, that was a rough period. Ooh, what came out of that one? Ooh, here's another rough period. Ooh, I'm just about to come out of that. Oh, there we go. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. It's not easy, but like I said, you gotta stick with it and to be able to learn along the way, because the universe brings you. You're gonna get me off like a preacher man here. You're gonna dude. You got me on my box now.
Father Tommie.
But the truth is, there are lessons to learn along the way. There is no shortcuts, and people want shortcuts. Some people want the shortcut. They want to start, and then they want to get there like that. If you do that, you haven't learned what you're meant to learn in the process. And it's for you specifically, because everyone, I believe, on this planet has a destiny. And I believe in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve, the universe is also going to give you lessons to learn along the way. So that when you finally get to where you're meant to be, you have gathered all the tools, you've learned all the lessons, and you're well equipped to handle where you need to be when you get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very well put.
Okay, I'm gonna go and purchase a ticket to Ireland after this conversation. 'Cause that is my dream. My dream is to go to Ireland and Scotland, and you are there right now. So I'm living my dream through you.
Hey.
You are my source of inspiration now.
Hey,
Because you did it. You're doing what I want to do.
I will inspire. You know, you go and get it. You tell your family you're off to Ireland. But leave my name out of it.
Tommie, you're completely right. Like, I did not put out my first album until I was 45 years old. And it's because of anxiety and depression. It kept pushing things back. I left music for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, finally, a friend of mine took a track I did, basically put vocals over it and guitar, kind of like a remix, got it on the radio, and that completely altered the way I looked at everything I was doing. So...
It's funny how we can be our own worst enemy until someone else says, I believe in you. And it's like, oh, if you can believe in me, I can definitely do the same thing for myself as well.
Yeah.
But, I remember in our first conversation, you spoke a lot about some of the struggles that you went through and how you found yourself and how you loved yourself, and that helped out so much. And it's so true. Like, that self-awareness is something that I feel a lot of people, I'm not going to say are lacking, but they're not tuning in enough to themselves, being honest. Like, it was not easy for me to say, you know what, I should not pursue acting no more. But I had to be honest. I'm like, I'm not forcing this. Like I said, the journey was hell for me. I hated the waiting. I hated the constant, like, did I get it? Am I going to be booked for something else? That was not for me. And I'm like, those who struggle with that, it's about self-awareness. Like, you see someone succeed, like, oh, I want to do that. Okay, but the one thing I always ask people all the time is, do you have the same personality as that person? Right. Because that matters. Like, that person may have a completely different personality than you do, and that's why they were able to get there. And it's self-awareness is so important.
Yeah.
And,
the self-awareness and the recognition of yourself and kind of going like, you were able to make a decision for yourself, for the better of yourself, that you decided this isn't for me. I'd love to, and I'm not cowering out, but I don't like it. And if you don't like something, you remove if you remove yourself from it. I don't like the situation. Remove yourself from it, because at the end of the day, what's most important is taking care of you in your mental state, your mental health, and just your life. And you go, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy on this particular journey, and so I need to step off and find something else. It's different to someone who's like, I'm not having a great time, but I'm enjoying the struggle because I know it's going to pay off, and I need to do this. And do you know what I mean? And you find some kind of joy in that. That's fine. But if it's not working for you, and you decide, I just don't want it, then that's fine. That's
100%.
fine. But you've made that decision for yourself, and no one forced you to make it. You looked ahead, you looked within, and you saw, this is not making me happy. I'm not enjoying this. I'd love to be able to do it, but this part of it, not for me.
It felt like I was forcing it for my ego. More than I was for my soul and being happy. And I was like, I'm ego chasing here. I'm just doing it because it's exciting to speak about. But I'm like, I'm not really enjoying the journey. So that's something that very important to take away from this Super Hour podcast conversation is self-awareness. That's our theme today. Wednesday and self-awareness. That's our theme. But Tommie, we have talked a long time.
Wow.
And I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've enjoyed spending time with you and Hoarder. However, I know you're a really busy person. You have a lot of Ireland to see. So with that being said, is there anything that you have announced that you can speak about, or anything that's upcoming you want to share?
I do have some things that aside from the Rainmaker, the other things I can't talk about, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
So it's not, the good thing is it's nice to have things that I can't talk about because I know that they will
Yes,
eventually
100%.
you know. But at the moment, I think I'm just I'm looking forward to spending the holidays. My husband's coming over in
Nice.
December, and we're just going to spend the Christmas here and then go see friends in London, and and finish this off, and I'll get back to LA and see what the next steps are.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year next. Well, I got a few things happening. Things are coming out.
You got some seeds planted that are growing.
Yeah, and it'll be good to see the stuff that I've worked on. Like Mission Impossible. I got a small bit in that and stuff, and but those were memorable things for me. Like working with Tom Cruise every day. It was crazy, and Greenland Migration's coming out, I think, next year as well, which is the Gerard Butler sequel and stuff. So those little things, they'll be gems, but it'll be nice, a few things to be able to talk about.
Lovely. So where can people follow you to keep up to date with these announcements?
Listen, the best place probably is either you can get me on my page on Facebook, or you can get me on Instagram. I am now on Blue Sky.
Yes.
Awesome.
I am
Great to
on
hear.
Blue Sky.
Let's celebrate that. Good job, Tommie.
Because I had to make a decision. I said, I think I'm done with Twitter. I think I'm done.
Is it making you happy? Are you done with that journey?
I was getting
Exactly.
so irate and so furious about things that were happening. And then I would scroll, and I'm very good at scrolling past stuff that I don't want to see, but it just became too much that I couldn't even see stuff from people that I wanted to see from. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I thought, well, I'm leaving all these followers a little behind, and then you're going to go somewhere and study. I'm just like, it's not important. It's not important.
They'll follow you.
It was like the same way, when they took away the blue ticks and, your verification. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's okay. It's all right. And so I just walked away. I literally deactivated probably about over a week ago now. And I someone told me about Blue Sky, and I thought, well, let me tip over to Blue Sky and see what they got going on. So that's where I'm at. And so I'm finding my way around it, and I'm just kind of, chill. In one respect, it's kind of nice because I've got, your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook, and I'm just like, I haven't added one, I've replaced one. So,
Yes.
and I think that's where I'm at right now. I'll see how
So Blue Sky and Instagram is where we can find your announcements. Got it.
Tommie Earl Jenkins, Blue Sky and Instagram, Facebook.
We're happy to have you on Blue Sky. I'm loving it.
I like it a lot.
I deactivated Twitter about 2.5-3 weeks ago.
Wow.
I didn't even say goodbye. I just left. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hands clean.
And I'm good with it. I thought for a moment it was going to be like, oh, do I really want to do this? Because I started to just read so much stuff. And then I was like, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you just need to take the step, Tej, and just let it go. And I'm good.
It's that time.
I'm good. Yeah.
Hoarder's slowly leaving it. He's slowly.
So the problem I have, I still have friends that are there, like people I've known for years, so I'll like their posts, but I will not promote. I haven't sent any posts or anything like that. And the only reason I haven't closed the account is my hope beyond hope is that someone, maybe like Mark Cuban, ends up buying Twitter or something, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
I have thought about completely, nuking the account, but I just haven't yet.
Well,
it's all personal preference.
Yeah. I deactivate it, but then I think they say you have like 30 days that you can reactivate it without it going away. So I haven't done that yet. And I did think about that. I thought, well, let me just deactivate it. And maybe on the 29th day, maybe I'll go and I wonder if you reactivate it and then deactivate it again, do you get another 30 days? So you never really lose your spot. You're
trying to play the system.
You're like, oh no, I'm 31 days.
Yes. Oh my God, I missed the deadline. I'm completely out now. Completely out.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Let it go.
It's amazing how that platform it went from my favorite platform for the longest time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, it's the worst. And I'm like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I followed you on Blue Sky, so yeah, you are there.
Yeah.
The energy is positive. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But
Have I got you both on Blue Sky? Did I get you both?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I
You got me.
believe I know you and I are following each other. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I messaged you like 7 times. I'm like Tommy, follow. Tommy, follow. And then you eventually like, fine, all right, here, I'll follow you. So yeah,
Well,
you know,
it wasn't
peer
because
pressure
I was
works.
like, I didn't feel forced into it. I'm still navigating through it. I didn't feel forced into it.
You're always feeling forced. Well, Tommy, it has, as usual, been a pleasure catching up with you.
Always.
Once again, my invite will be out there with Hoarder and I. We will have you back on in 6 to 9 months again because you're going to have more stuff to talk about. And I just love talking with you and hearing your little golden nuggets about self-awareness and so much more.
I love it.
So,
love it. Well, maybe by the next time I speak to you, you will have experienced Death Stranding in one form or another.
Yeah, that was rude. With that being said, I mean, I pressured you to follow me on Blue Sky. I guess I can let you pressure me to play Death Stranding.
In your own
All
time.
right, Tom. Thank you
time.
so much for taking the time in Ireland, where you can be sightseeing to talk to us. We really appreciate it. Hoarder, thanks again for coming and being part of this journey with me. Yeah, I value you both, and we will have you on again, Tommy, in due time.
Listen,
thank you so much.
Enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, guys. What a great way to spend my evening.